Hello, fellow marketers. I'm Brian Bowie, and welcome to another episode of Directive R&D. Today, I'm joined by a different lab partner, Brady Cramm, our Director of Paid Media at Directive. Brady, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. I'm excited to finally be in the lab.
I know, it's been too long. I can't wait to have you on. We're going to be talking about a very popular, in our world, topic around branded versus non-branded search campaigns. I have a little deck prepared and can't wait to run through some of our experiences with it. But let me share my screen and we'll dive in. All right. See my screen all right?
Yep.
Cool. So why is this a common debate, Brady, with a lot of our clients? Is it because they already have branded spend? Are they trying to, get new customers? Why is this a common debate?
Yeah, I'm glad that you even bring up that it's often a debate. It's sometimes not even a fun conversation. There can be politics behind it. But I think when it comes to performance, at least my own philosophy is branded traffic can often relate to other marketing efforts working well, right? People know about your brand. They're already aware of it. So they're searching your site. So is it worth paying per that click? And even outside of PPC, is that performance we should report on and really celebrate if it just means something else is working? Versus non-branded can be looked at as a search where people aren't saying they know who's out there, right? They're searching non-branded terms. They don't know the solutions. They're trying to find them. And so when you get a click through that, if you get a lead through that, it can be seen as more valuable. But there's also the battle between defending your brand and competitors poaching us, so we need to poach them. So there's a lot of different conversations that can be had around this topic, but I really like looking at the true performance differences between the two and the growth of the business that can come from either one.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I guess like all things we try to do, we try to test, what will happen if you don't run branded campaigns and what happens if you do. So on my screen here, we're presenting kind of a little bit of a case study for a test we ran for one of our clients that had a lot of high spend for branded campaigns and branded keywords. And we wanted to see, one of their goals was net new customers and net new contacts. So we wanted to pitch a strategy that could use their funds to go more towards those net new acquisitions. Can you explain a little bit of what happened when we ran this experiment?
Yeah, for sure. So to your point, this client wanted net new logos. That was their main goal. And so they shared that goal with us. But when taking over their account, we also saw they were spending a lot of money in branded campaigns. And so instead of forming some assumption and making a move and saying, hey, you want new logos, let's take money out of brand. We wanted to make sure it wasn't hurting their performance. They also wanted to know this as well. So what we did is we ran an experiment and we measured branded traffic to the site, just overall, whether it's through a paid ad or through organic. And so we collected that data. And then what we did was we turned off our paid ads and we collected that data. And what we calculated was what is the overall click-through rate to the website when branded ads are turned on versus branded ads turned off. And what we found, and you can see it in that bolded click-through rate metric there, we only really lost 2% click-through rate overall when turning off our branded campaigns. But when they were on, they were getting more than a 2% click-through rate and they were spending a fair amount of money in budget.
Right, that's super interesting. Yeah, so cost savings for only like 2% more traffic during that time. They were paying somewhere close to 20K at least per month.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. To align with our goals, we actually moved forward with this client with turning off branded paid PPC so that we can use these funds for non-branded net new logo acquisition. And we saw a massive increase quarter over quarter in non-branded conversions. In Q2, they were seeing, that is Q2. They were getting about 284 branded conversions. And then in the next quarter, only 26. And then it was kind of like flip-flop, but overall, massive increase in overall conversions between non-branded and branded in the newer quarter. So we went from around 700 to closer to 850 or 860 in the next quarter, and leaving a lot of the organic conversions to their organic ranking. So
yeah, for sure. I think a good talking point here and why you really need to break down this data and consult clients this way is something you'll notice if you're looking at that percentage change column is we increased non-branded by 61.45%, but branded did go down 90.85%. So it was a bigger drop than it was a lift. And what that comes from is a non-branded cost per click is much higher than branded, especially when it's your brand, you have a high quality score. Even if people are poaching you, your cost per click isn't that premium. You're getting a very good cost per click. And conversion rate is usually fairly good on branded terms. And so you really have to bring the client into this data, because if you look at it overall, this change could look like month over month performance went down if you look at it overall. And so that's why it's so important to break these two out and segment them when it comes to your reporting. That
makes a ton of sense. So people are going to ask, when should you run branded campaigns? Are there scenarios where, so I used Asana as an example in this visual here. Are there, and then there you can see some ads here. So in what scenarios do you think people should consider branded campaigns versus like shutting them down completely?
Yeah, so one of them is that first bullet point there, competitors, right? If there are competitors approaching your brand term, they most likely are getting clicks from people interested in you. You can kind of go a layer deeper here and look at your own poaching efforts from the past and how they worked for your business. This helps you really understand what it might be like for a competitor poaching your terms. But to go even deeper than that, you really want to understand, what are they offering? How are they going about this? We've done our own experiments, and this could probably be another lab episode on how to poach competitors and things we've seen, but really changing your messaging and changing your offering when showing up for competitor keywords can really change performance for the better. And so not only should you check if competitors are going after your brand terms, but you should really try to have an open mindset. As much as we just want to talk down competitors, think of how good their ad is. And if it's pretty good and if it's enticing and you feel like it's disrupting to you and your brand, you might want to consider defending your brand, having your ads there, going for the number one position, knowing that most likely Monday.com for a search Asana isn't getting the best quality score. So they're paying a premium for that click when you are Asana. So you should have a very good quality score for your brand, and you should have some leverage in this situation. And so I would even test trying to take that number one spot, because it's going to cost Monday a lot of money to take it away from you. But if Asana has a very low cost per click in the account right now, it's probably pretty easy for Monday.com to show up above them.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, another point was, branded campaigns, if they're profitable and you want to keep scaling, it could be still a good, channel for you to pull and use for generating more qualified leads and revenue. The last point, and it kind of leads into our next slide here, around landing page performance. So say you do want to run a branded campaign, how would you approach it?
Yeah, so this slide here is to also just talk about why you would maybe want to run one. And that's around the performance from a branded ad campaign, with the fact that you get to control the page it goes to. Obviously, to an extent, you can control the pages that show up for your brand, but most likely it is your homepage. I would say 99% of the branded searches out there, the number one ranking page is the homepage of that company. And, I don't want to say like, hey, you should build a landing page with better messaging and a better offer and all these things. I want to assume that's already happening on your homepage as well. You should have really good messaging. You should have a really good offer. And so what I wanted to show here was just the simple attention ratio of a homepage versus a landing page. This is a very common landing page talking point on why dedicated landing pages are better than sending traffic to your main website, is because you can have a 1-to-1 ratio on a landing page. And what that means is you have one goal for the page, which let's say is for someone to get a demo. And that is the only thing they can do on that page. You only have one button that links to something, and it is your demo form. They can't go back to the home page. They can't read the blog from this page. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. Versus the homepage, this example is showing 57-to-1. You have the core menu. You have all of these links out into the body. You have a ton of links within the footer. yet you still have one goal. It's a 57-to-1 ratio. All you really want them to do is to fill out a demo form, yet on the homepage, and you need all this for SEO reasons, internal linking, navigation. You have so many different routes for the user to take. And you can see major conversion rate changes from that alone. And so there's a statistic from actual client data of branded traffic to a dedicated, optimized for conversion landing page versus branded traffic pointing to the homepage. And we actually tested this through Google Ads, because we weren't sure, like, maybe there's a difference between the user when they click an ad versus the organic link. Maybe people who go through ads are more in the market than current customers who click the organic link. So we tested this through Google Ads alone, and we saw a 96% conversion rate increase when going to the landing page for that branded traffic versus the homepage. So that's another major factor. If you don't have landing pages and both are pointing to the homepage, it might be an easier decision for you, but you definitely want to test the difference in performance when you get to control that landing page experience.
That makes a ton of sense. That's some great insight there. I'm gonna hop out of here so we can kind of discuss a little bit more, but Brady, thanks for joining. That was a super insightful, breakdown of branded versus non-branded campaigns. Hopefully we can get you back on. So any last tips or recommendations for the guests thinking about like turning branded campaigns on or off?
Yeah, I think that one of them is going to be a shout out to a piece of software that I've been looking into called AdAI, very interesting technology. And so what they do, and it's very relevant to this conversation, I think one of their benchmark pieces of data is if you're spending $10,000 a month in branded, you should check out their tool. But what it does is it takes live screenshots of the SERP, and it will tell you when you're ranking #1 organically and there's no ads being shown except for maybe yours. And if that's the case, it would turn off your ads. And then the second it sees a competitor show up within those screenshots, it would turn those terms back on by removing and adding things to the negative keyword list. So that's kind of a middle ground solution to what we're talking to. I'm fascinated by the tool, so I'm more than happy to bring it up and give them a shout out here. But that's a middle ground solution. If you're unsure about this, there is technology out there to help you position your ads when you need to defend your brand, or remove your ads when no one else is there to poach them. And most likely they'll just make it through your organic ranking page and not click on your ad. But that doesn't address performance through landing pages. So I still want to highlight that. You definitely want to see if you can get better performance through landing pages. For sure. Yeah, I'll make sure to link to that tool. That sounds amazing, and that's news to me. But that sounds really cool and like a really good solution to test. But thank you so much for joining today. If you have any questions, leave a comment and we'll make sure to get back to you. And Brady, hopefully we get you back in the lab. Yeah, I want to be back soon. All right. Thank you. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Brian.